welcome to Bus Notes. I'm Vinny Nariello. I'm a teacher, I'm a comedian, and oh, how do I hate a classroom that's completely quiet with nobody participating in the class discussion. We're going to solve that problem. We're going to give you some keen observations, some witticisms. We're going to bring life into your classroom. We're going to fake it. That's what we're going to do. It's Bus Notes. Today we're going to talk about Farenheit 451 by Ray Bradbury. It takes place in a dystopian future where books are banned and nobody reads. In fact, the books are burned. You'd love that, wouldn't you? Because you didn't do the reading. You didn't read the study guide. Oh, you'd love this dystopian future, wouldn't you? We're not there yet. You still have a test coming up. So here's 5 things you'll need to know to convince your teacher that you read Farenheit 451. Number 1, people to know. This book takes place all the way in the future. In 1999. That was 20 years ago. You probably weren't even born yet. But yes, it takes place in the future in 1999. This book was written in 1953. Our main character is Guy Montag. Guy Montag is a fireman. All right. The job of the fireman, though, isn't to put out fires. The job of the fireman is to set fire to books, suppress ideas. Montag is dissatisfied with his life, and he's not really sure why. He's not sure why he can't find the same satisfaction in life that other people seem to find. But it dawns on him one day. It dawns on him when he meets a girl named Clarice. Clarice is 17 years old, and she's his new neighbor, and she takes interest in him. All right, she starts asking him questions. She wants to know about his job, about the life of the fireman, his own life. And for the first time, he's heard people actually ask questions, have inquisitive minds, wanting to know more. In this dystopian future where nobody reads, nobody has any kind of questions about the world or themselves. You contrast this with his wife. Montag's wife is Mildred. Mildred is a pill addict. She just watches bad television all day, and she doesn't question anything at all. She's content to just lay on the couch, watching mindless television and popping pills. Yeah, so Mildred is really, really dumb. We also meet Montag's 3 mentors, these 3 men who we meet along the way. First, we have Captain Beatty. Captain Beatty is the captain of the fire department. Now, Beatty, even though he encourages Montag to burn books and talks about the dangers of books, seems to be a well-read man himself. He quotes from literature, and he points out how these books contradict one another. And it's that these contradictions, these are the things that are going to make you unhappy. Now, Montag, who's never questioned anything in his life, believes this at first, but then slowly starts picking up books, reading books, memorizing passages from the Bible. And he sees what Captain Beatty is saying as being wrong. No, we need these books. And Captain Beatty encourages Montag to burn down his own house after finding out that he has books. Montag, however, burns Captain Beatty. Next, we have 2 other mentors. We have Professor Faber. Professor Faber says no. Books aren't meant to be something that give you the ultimate truth. Books are meant to be a reflection of society. It's okay for these books to contradict one another because they're really about you and how you see yourself. Books are the key to self-reflection, and they are going to be the thing that ends your dissatisfaction. Finally, we have a man named Granger. Granger and a group of intellectuals have hidden out in the woods where each one has memorized a book that they tell people, that they pass on the message of these books in order to keep society intellectual, to keep them with inquisitive minds. At the end of the book, a war starts, and the entire world is wiped out except for this group of intellectuals who are now going to rebuild the world with the knowledge that they've memorized. Number 2, The Dangers of Technology. This book was written in 1953. We had early television, and Bradbury was concerned that people would become so absorbed in technology that they would no longer read, that they would no longer converse, they would no longer have any kind of intellectual discussion. Right now, you're watching this on your phone, you haven't read the book. So maybe the man had a point. Number 3, censorship. Now, Bradbury always maintained that he did not write a book about censorship. He wrote a book about the dangers of technology. However, just as Professor Faber says that books are a reflection of the time they're written in and a reflection of ourselves, this book has become the book about censorship, okay? The government is suppressing ideas. They don't like the idea of people questioning them. They don't like the idea of people questioning themselves. So it's about suppression of ideas. And throughout time, over the past 70 years, whenever there's been any kind of censorship of journalism, censorship of mass media, suppression of ideas in the arts, people point to Farenheit 451 as a definitive book that comments on the dangers of censorship. Number 4, dissatisfaction. Smile. Come on, smile. You ever have that where you're unhappy, you're miserable, and someone tells you just smile and everything's going to be okay? And that works 0% of the time. That has never worked. Guy Montag, our main character, is dissatisfied with life. But everybody tells him you should be satisfied. You have everything you can want. You're married. You have a career. This is how you should be satisfied. However, he doesn't have any kind of challenge to his mind, any kind of intellectual challenge. He doesn't have the ability to question himself until he starts reading books. Then he's able to question himself. Then he's able to intellectualize his own feelings. Number 5, dystopia. You've heard me call this book a dystopia a few times. Okay, but what is a dystopia? A dystopia takes place in the future in this case being 1999. And in this future, people are controlled. They've lost all hope. And a dystopia is where people are controlled by a force greater than them. This force could be corporate, it could be governmental, it could be militaristic. But either way, it's a force greater than the people controlling the people, okay? Leading them down a path of unhappiness. You've seen other examples of dystopian media. For example, WALL-E, Mad Max, and The Hunger Games, all dystopian futures. 1999. Bonus. Like we said, Ray Bradbury wrote this book to warn about the dangers of television. As the years went on, though, he softened his view on television. And in the 80s, in fact, he had one of the first television shows made exclusively for cable called Ray Bradbury Theater that he wrote and created. Was based on a lot of his short stories. He was also a big proponent of personal home computers and has made Farenheit 451 available as a free ebook to anybody that has a library card. That's it for Bus Notes. Be sure to leave comments about any books that you want us to cover in the future. Follow us on social media, share, let the world know all about Bus Notes. Now come on, let's get that C together.